Welcome back, everybody, and good morning from Costa Rica. Another beautiful day here in the middle of the jungle. Today, I wanted to finally cover a topic that I've been wanting to do for quite some time now, reacting to this whole Ford split internally where they're going to have their electric vehicle division and they're going to have their internal combustion engine division. So we're going to take a look at this. I'm going to give you my opinions and thoughts on it, and we're going to overlay some comments from CNBC and kind of react to it a little bit while at the same time giving some context as far as what my opinions are and what this all means. And, this could be scary for Tesla, okay? This could be the real Tesla killer. This could be the real competition that everybody's been saying is going to come for Tesla. Or maybe it's not. We'll find out. Before we get into it, though, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, and let's get into it.
One of the things that Jim was saying to me yesterday was, look, the combustion people are industrialists, right? But they're willing to be whatever's necessary. But in the end, they're internal combustion people, and they're not really buying into EV.
So this premise that Jim Cramer is saying here, and that Jim Farley, I guess Jim spoke to Jim Farley, for those of you who don't know, is the CEO of Ford. This is their premise, is that there are internal combustion engine people and they're internal combustion engine people, and they're not buying into the whole EV revolution, everything that's going on. Okay, so this is where we have to first understand where they're coming from. This is what Jim thinks, because either it's just what he thinks or because he's spoken to Jim Farley, but this is clearly the thought process Jim Farley has. And it's not wrong per se that certain people think that EVs aren't real, that they're maybe not real, that they're not efficient enough, or they aren't going to be powerful enough, and that they're not going to be able to replace trucks, and they're not going to be able to go long distance, right? There's all these misconceptions now that we as Tesla fans, Tesla investors know just aren't true. But let's see what this leads to, right? So this thought process leads to this new era of Ford. And so here we can take a look at this. This is the Ford Plus plan. So you can see on the left here, we have the Ford Model E. Okay, so listen to this. Ford Model E. Delight customers with truly incredible electric and connected vehicles and services, and build the future as our center of innovation and growth. Wow, that sounds magical, doesn't it? Okay, so then we have the Ford Blue. Well, what's Ford Blue? Ford Blue is their ICE division. Okay, so let's listen to this. Inspire customers to pursue their dreams and passions in life with iconic Ford vehicles and experiences, and serve as the engine that supports and powers our future. Wow, that's magical, ethereal marketing there, isn't it? And this is classic what we would expect from a company like Ford. All right, this is nothing but marketing, and if you really kind of pit these two against each other, the Ford Model E and the Ford Blue, they kind of contradict each other, right? Both are claiming to be the future, both are claiming to be the next thing for the future, your dreams and all that, but can both be true? I don't know. I think not. Now, what's interesting here is that Ford Model E is almost a direct, attack, insult to Tesla. For those of you who don't know, Tesla has a lineup of vehicles. They have the Model S, the Model Y, the Model 3, and the Model X. Okay, if you line it all up, it's supposed to spell sexy, except there's one difference, right? The Model 3 is not an E. Well, the reason behind that is because Tesla tried to get the name Model E. And Ford threatened to sue Tesla if they did that, if they used the Model E, because I guess Ford had rights to that name. Whatever, doesn't matter. I get it. No offense. That's fine. You had rights to it. Makes sense. Elon did Elon things, just said, okay, we'll call it a 3. We still have sexy. Ford killed sexy. Right? So we all know about that. But the fact that they're going to call their entire electric division now Ford Model E, that is very clearly a shot at Elon and Tesla. Okay, so it's not being coy in any way. This is just blatant as can be. And so at the same time, you almost have to respect this, because this is almost giving a head nod to Tesla, saying, hey, we're coming after you. We get it. You're the big dog. on campus, but we're going to come after you, and here's us just kind of flinging our little shot, our little insult towards you. Okay, so we got Ford Model E, we got Ford Blue. Let's continue listening to CNBC.
The EV people, here's something really exciting. It's going to be run by a Doug Field, who was later the Apple car that wasn't developed, but then helped at Tesla to launch the Model 3. What is he banking on, Farley? The Model E, which, by the way, did you know that Musk tried to get that name?
Model E?
Yeah, Model E. So it's going to be the Model E, like Model T, like
right.
Model A, Model E. Okay. And he does want to, this is the destroy Tesla plan.
So the whole destroy Tesla plan is, one, to name the division of the company the Ford Model E, again, a shot at them, and two, to take somebody who used to work at Tesla, in Doug Fields, take him, and don't forget the history, okay? So he worked at Tesla, then he left, they had different opinions, whatever, he ended up going to Apple, where he tried to build the Apple car, and we see all those around, right? We see how well that went, and now he's at Ford. So this Tesla competitor, Tesla killer solution from Ford is essentially to take somebody from Tesla and have them lead the Ford division of electric vehicles. Does that really make any sense? So to kill Tesla, you're going to bring Tesla in, is the idea here. And, a picture is worth 1,000 words, they say. A meme might as well be worth 1,000,000 words. Take a look at this. Here we can see a clip of a Tesla plaid interior, and you can see the Toyota interior, very similar. Now I know we're talking about Ford, but I think the meme still applies. And below it, you can see, if you've ever watched Mr. Bean, you can see Mr. Bean trying to cheat off of a test. And that's essentially what Ford is doing right now, right? Ford is sitting there saying, oh, okay, well, we're just going to bring in an ex-employee from Tesla, and we'll use them to help us beat Tesla, right? Like, that's what will do it. They act like Doug Fields is Elon Musk. They act like that's what they're bringing in. And what's even more comical is that all these people, just like you saw all that marketing terminology, all that beautiful, high excitement and futuristic and your dreams and all that from a vehicle, you heard all that BS. It's the same reason why Ford just still doesn't get it, all right? It's not one individual that allowed the Model S, X, 3, Y all to be successful. It's not an individual. It's a culture that has been created. It's a culture that people have taken time to put work into, put time into, blood, sweat, equity, right? It's not one individual you can take, pluck, and put him into a new organization and think it's just going to happen like that. Not going to happen, not going to work. So I think for Jim to even suggest that this is actually a Tesla killer, I think is comical. So let's take a little more about what this plan looks like. So here we can see, again, you have Ford Blue and you got Ford Model E, which is just, it's so hard to honestly say that, because when you see Ford Model E, you want to think that it's a model of a vehicle, but it's not. That's the name of this segment of the company. Like for a company that thrives and relies so much on marketing, they have horrible naming conventions here. All right, so let's start off with Ford Blue. So Ford Blue, if you read below, it says decades of engineering, high volume production expertise. Okay, you can't deny that. They have lots of engineering, they have decades of experience. Okay, cool. Ford Model E side, we got the focus and speed of a startup at the leading edge of technology. I would not say there's anything leading edge about the Mustang Mach-E, which we can see here, but in general with what Ford is doing. Okay, if anything, Ford is becoming more of a Me Too company, trying to catch up. So leading technology is kind of a joke, in my opinion. And you can see that these two companies are going to be within Ford. So Ford's not actually splitting apart into two different companies. They're just kind of dividing their P&L so that we can better track the profit and loss from each division of the company. And the idea here is that it could hopefully allow investors to want to invest more into Ford and get better margins and get better yada, 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 right? All the financial terms you could think of. And what they're going to strive to do here is to make sure that these different segments aren't completely isolated from each other, right? There's no DMZ between them or a demilitarized zone, right? The idea is for them to work together. So here we can see how the lines here kind of cross back and forth, where you have world-class engineering and purchasing and manufacturing. That crosses over to the Ford E side, and you can see the connected always on experiences powered by software. That crosses over to the Model Blue side. So the idea is for them to have all these synergies that can work together. And in thought, on paper, it sounds excellent, but the truth is, anybody who's ever worked at a company that has had multiple divisions, this is one of the hardest things to do, is to intertwine different segments, and it's damn near impossible when you already have a certain established culture, a certain established perception of what a company is. And so what do I mean by this? Okay, we know that the Ford ICE business and all the union workers there and anything to do with that is very anti-going electric. Why? Well, because a lot of their jobs might be lost, right? They may become irrelevant. I mean, we've seen this in technology over and over, all right? We used to have all these people who were just administrators for storage, right? All they would do is carve out lungs within sands, and that's all they would do. Or people who would just, be in charge of all of the file servers for their NASes, right? But now people are becoming more generalized, right? You have more people who specialize in networking and storage and compute, right? Or cloud products. So the idea is not to have anyone who specializes on this one thing, right? Anyone who's in that three-tier architecture, you're kind of dated. Well, same goes here when it comes to the ICE industry. Well, soon we may not need certain specialties for certain products because we're going to innovate those out. And so the engineers who are in charge of certain products, well, maybe they think, well, no, I'm not going to help this individual because all I'm doing is extincting my job. And I don't want to do that. I don't know anything about batteries. I don't know anything about these motors. But what I do know a lot about are pistons. I know a lot about pistons. And so that's going to be very hard to balance that. You've got a division of people who are keeping a, kind of a stink eye out onto the other division saying, I know you guys might think that you're going to overtake us and you're going to take away all of our jobs, and we're not going to let that happen. And how are we going to stop that? Well, by not cooperating. So it'll be interesting to see how this works between both divisions and see how much interoperability there really is between them. And I think this is going to be a lot harder than people realize. So if we look at this next slide here, I highlighted something here. Let's read this. Ford Blue and Ford Model E will operate as distinct businesses, but share relevant technology and best practices to leverage scale and drive operating improvements, along with Ford Pro. All three businesses are expected to have discrete P&Ls by 2023. So again, this just reiterates everything I said, so you guys know I'm not BSing you. This is exactly what they're looking to do. So let's go back onto CNBC and let's continue listening to this, and we're going to break this down a little deeper.
Remember, Tesla produced 330,000 cars in America. He wants to do 2 million. I think Farley's ambitions are remarkable.
Okay, so Jim just said Tesla produced 330. I listened to this like 50,000 times. I still don't know what he said. I know what Tesla produced for Q4, but all you hear Jim say is you can't make any sense out of it. But he goes on to compare that to Jim Farley saying that they plan on producing 2 million vehicles. Okay, let's take a step back here. Jim, this is where media becomes very dishonest or disingenuous in the way they portray things. Jim just went and tried to compare what Tesla did essentially in a quarter, and he wants to compare that to what Ford is predicting they will make by 2026, 4 years away. Does that make any sense? If that's not more of an apples and oranges type comparison, I don't know what is. I mean, that's more like really apples and koala bear. Like it's not even the same realm of consistency or two things that can actually be compared to each other. It's just ridiculous. Take a look at this. You can see here, okay, value to unlock. This is what they predict will happen because they split up the company into two different divisions. Right, we have all these things here, right? Extra 10%, company adjusted EBIT. Okay, cool. 5 billion EV investment in 2022, 2 times what was in 2021. This number is just ridiculous at this point. They say 5 million here, they say 50 million there, they say 25 million or billion here. Everything, like all these billings add up together. Like at this point, all the numbers they've said essentially add up to more than what the company's even worth. So I don't know where these numbers come from. I don't know where they're going to get the ability to finance this. Inflation's going up. Banks are going to be a lot stricter on how they lend funds out. Ford already has a substantial amount of debt on hand. I mean, it's just, I don't know. This just seems like the height of marketing, in my opinion, and borderline fraudulent, if you ask me, because everything they say, it's just hyperbole, but without any actual proof that's been done or how they're going to get to it. I mean, maybe it's not fraudulent. Maybe I'm being hyperbolic with that, but it just seems very disingenuous. All right, but more importantly, let's look down here. So Jim just tried to compare what Tesla did in a single quarter compared to what Ford plans to do for 2026. And I'm not making this up. Look, 2 million plus annual production of EVs by 2026, 1/3 of their global production. So how does that make any sense? Tesla essentially just did 1 million in 2021. They'll do about 1.6 to 1.7 million in 2022. In 2023, they will be over 2 million easily. They'll probably be about 2.4, 2.5 million by 2023. So 3 years before Ford's even at 2 million, and that's their aspirational goal, right, is to get to 2 million. Tesla will be there 3 years beforehand, if not even before, right? I mean, who knows what 2022 is really going to look like? We don't know how fast everything's going to ramp, and we don't know how drastic 2023 will be either. So it is just crazy that he's comparing these two. It makes no sense. But Jim has even crazier, more silly things to say. Let's listen.
Yeah. I would take Farley over Musk in 2026.
In 2026.
When they're going to make 2 million cars, 2 million EVs.
Well, I thought that,
all right, so that's
I liked it. I loved Farley.
It's like
but
a
the 2 million,
projection.
I wanted him to pull back from the 2 mil. I wouldn't have gone with the 2 mil.
Jim Cramer just said that he would take Farley over Elon Musk in 2026. And what you heard immediately was his co-host just laugh. I think David Sager maybe, I don't know who it was, but just laugh. 2026, Jim Cramer saying he'll take Farley over Elon Musk. If that is essentially taking or buying a call option for a company that is, I don't know, let's say we take Tesla. Say you want to buy a call option on Tesla. Right now Tesla is at $800 a share. That would be like saying, all right, I'm going to buy an out of the money at $10,000 call option. That's how outrageous of a chance that is. Okay, it is such a low percentage chance that, and actually, you know what, Tesla probably has a better chance of getting the 10,000 in that time frame, just because of full self-driving, because they're ramping, their margins, right? I mean, Tesla could actually get to that. I mean, we've all seen charts out there from different YouTubers, Warren Redlick, Steve Mark Ryan. We've all seen their numbers, their charts, how it's not unreasonable. But what he's saying here is for Jim Farley to be outdoing Elon Musk by 2026 is ridiculous. Elon Musk will be outdoing Jim Farley in 2023. Jim Farley's aspirational goal is 2 million in 2026, and Tesla will be doing that in 2023. Like, how is that even a comparison? Like, he's already lost. It's already over. 2026, Musk is already beating Farley. Now, what's even funnier is you hear Jim at the end of that clip saying, I wish he wouldn't have said 2 million. I wish he would have pulled it back a little bit. So even then, Jim doesn't think that they'll get to 2 million by 2026. This is comical, and it honestly contradicts itself on its face.
He's making money on everything. Farley will not make something he doesn't make money on, which I think is incredible. Because people, and by the way, you remember the electric one, the F-150 is coming out in the fall.
Does it make it easier?
This is absolutely incorrect. Jim Cramer just said that Farley will not make anything that isn't profitable. We all know at this point that all these automakers essentially make zero profit on their actual vehicles. That really they make all the revenue based off the services, the extra parts. Okay, I'm not saying they make absolutely zero money, right? I don't know all the margins for every vehicle model. I'm sure the F-150 actually has some decent margins on it. But on a whole, Ford does not make money on every product that they sell. Okay, at least not based on just the vehicle, right? If you throw in services into all that, spare parts into all of that, okay, maybe Jim is right here. But what's even more interesting is take a look at this. If what Jim is saying is so true, don't forget, they have a product out there called the Ford Mach-E. Listen to this. it will split out the two companies' profits and losses starting next year and is projecting profitability for the electric division within the next 4 years. So we're going to start seeing the P&L in 2023. And they're expecting profitability within the next 4 years. So if what Jim's saying is true, then why is it that they won't be profitable for 4 years? Again, I mean, maybe there's some accounting BS that happens, and maybe it's just going to be, well, the cars are profitable, but we're investing so much money, so it weighs things down, but really the vehicles are profitable, and we start doing all this magic math. Okay, maybe at that point you could be correct. But I would like to offer one other thought. Elon Musk recently tweeted about the Cybertruck, right? And we saw Rivian just up their prices by 20%. And Elon Musk responded to what's really going on with everything. And what he was saying is that creating a electric truck isn't hard. It really isn't. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. Tesla's already done it. Ford's already done it. Rivian's already done it. What's very hard is to make an affordable electric truck. And Elon's whole point was that if we at Tesla, the most vertically integrated company with the best technology, the best engineering, and the only electric company to have the amount of volume production, right? Because the more volume you have, the lower your costs are. Just think of Sam's Club, right? If Tesla is struggling with this, then essentially nobody else has a chance, or it's damn near impossible for anyone else. And that's essentially what Elon tweeted. So for Jim at the end here to bring up the Lightning, I find it very hard to believe that it's going to be profitable. I find it very hard to believe. Now, I will say, if Elon Musk feels this strongly about this, and you know that they're working hard, and you know they have the least amount of third-party contributors to their vehicles where they throw their margin on, it's something I would be concerned about if I was an investor in any other company. Okay, and again, this is coming from the guy who has done this. He has taken electric vehicles into volume production. And for those of you who are going to sit there and say, oh yeah, but Ford has experience, they've had the F-150, they already know how to do the body and all that. Listen, the body's not the complicated part, right? That is such a superficial way of understanding this, right? That's like me buying a book, a physics book, and being like, okay, well, I got the book. Well, that doesn't mean I know physics. Right now is the hard part. Now I have to learn it, and I have to understand what I'm learning, and I have to get to a point where I can teach it to other people, because if I can't do that, I don't really know it, right? And that's essentially the same thing. Okay, Ford's got the body. Ford's got the book. Well, now they have to do the hard part. They have to figure out how to make the software work. They have to figure out the battery management part of it. They have to figure out the batteries, the chemistry. They have to figure out how to vertically integrate everything, how to get rid of third parties, how to get rid of dealerships, right? They've got this huge task ahead of them. And don't forget, the ADAS system, right? Autonomous vehicles. They have to work on that aspect as well. So it's not that simple. And again, if I was investing in any other company, I would be terrified about the implications of that, especially coming from a person who has already produced electric vehicles in volume, which everybody else before said, hey, the second GM and Ford and Volkswagen want to do it, it's over. Meanwhile, everybody keeps saying that same rhetoric, that same talk, yet we hear Jim Farley, we hear Herbert Diess, we hear Stellantis. They're all saying, no, this is really hard. It's going to take a long time. It's not as easy as we thought. It's not just a skateboard. The only person who's still holding out on that logic and that theory is Mary Barra. She thinks you can just throw as many battery cells at the problem, increase the weight of the vehicle. Who cares about drag coefficient? Just looking at the EV Hummer, right? That thing's a joke. It's everybody is underestimating the difficulty of this problem. Look, I've worked in the industry. I used to work in the oil industry, okay? And I've seen where they take old assets or a different paradigm of a company and they break that out into a new division, just the same thing as what's happening here with Ford, and they let that die off. And it's the same rhetoric, it's the same things you hear. Oh, well, no, we're just doing it so that we can be more transparent with our P&L. We're doing it so that there's more transparency. We're doing it so we can invest more into this, and they're really separate businesses. We're going to keep both. It's still under the same umbrella. And what happens down the road? Well, less and less investment goes into the old paradigm. More and more goes into a new paradigm. And eventually they spin it off and they let it die, and it goes into bankruptcy. That's what's happening here. That's exactly what's happening here. And if you don't believe it, look up just about any industry. You've seen this in every single industry. You've seen it in tech, you've seen it in oil, you're going to see it in automobiles. It's going to happen, all right? This is a tried and true playbook. No reason to believe it's not going to happen again. The world's going to EVs. It's going to happen. I'm not saying it's happening overnight. It's happening a lot faster than we think. In 2030 will look a lot different than all of these deniers believe it will. All right, we're going to leave it there. Do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. I love you all. Peace.